it says that I'm having an issue. Let's see. That was weird. All right, it looks like the stream is live. Just a little hiccup here as I was starting the stream up this morning. So it wasn't registering the stream for a moment. So, hey, Corey, I see you're on channel. Can you hear me right now? Is the stream coming through to you live and good? I'll watch for your response down there in just a moment. We're a minute early, so giving myself some time. We haven't done a live stream in over a week now, so we did do a Zoom conference yesterday, though. All right. Looks like the stream is okay. We've got the chat right there. And let's double check OBS. All right. Looks like everything is working as it should be. So once again, Corey or anyone else who's popped into channel now, if you could let me know if you're seeing the stream, that would be great, since I had just a little bit of a problem there. I'm going to go ahead and minimize the window for a moment, and we will just wait a moment. And yes, it's actually 8 o'clock, so time to start up the live stream here. Let's double check this one more time to make sure it says that we've got an excellent connection. So we're good to go. So I'm going to get started here in just a moment. So welcome to the channel, everyone, and sorry for a little bit of prep talk there, just getting everything ready for today's stream. My name is Rich Charpentier. I'm the channel host, and as always, thanks for stopping by and hanging out for a few. We really do appreciate you coming by. For those of you who missed the live stream, that's okay. We always have it for replay available on channel. And I'm just taking a look over at the chat box to see if anyone else is popping in, to make sure that our audio quality and everything's going all right. So normally on this channel, we talk about drones, building your small drone business, or maybe building your large drone business, and a lot of the steps that go into it. Now, for those of you familiar with the channel, you know that we've been doing a lot more with raw land sites and drone flights in recent times, but those raw land sites have developed into something more. Good morning, Ray. How are you doing today? Let me see. Can everyone see my chat and hear me? Just the quick question there. So, Ray, let me know if you're hearing everything okay. I had a small little glitch when we first started up the stream, and I want to make sure that we're all set here. I'm going to check this one more time. It says that we've got an excellent connection, so good deal. All right, so we're going to be talking about raw land sites and what they can lead to. But before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about a recent update for one of our longer term clients. So if you're one of our patrons, then if you were on yesterday's Zoom meeting, you've probably seen some of this. But for folks who aren't on our Patreon channel, I wanted to give you an update. Corey can't hear me. Okay, let me see here. Thank you for letting me know that. All right, it's saying that the audio is coming through. Ray, are you, okay, so Ray's got it, and Corey, you're not hearing the audio, huh? Okay, so all is good, Ray. Let me know as we move along here. Countdown timer stopped at 60 seconds on my screen. Really weird. But Ray, you say that you've got it coming in all set, and it is, sorry for the OBS view, everybody, just making sure. I'm down here checking. So it's saying it's got the frame rate and live, that we've been live for 4 minutes. Let's minimize that one. Okay, Corey's going to reboot. All right, Corey, and I'm just going to double check the other one here one more time. So we've got 4 concurrent viewers on right now. Hey, Bruce, how are you doing this morning? Bruce, can you hear me? We've been having some weird little glitches going on here. So, all right. Audio is clear. Okay, I'm going to minimize that window. And so once again, sorry about that, everyone. Hey, it's live. These things happen. Sometimes feeds get a little weird. So anyways, for my patrons yesterday, we had a Zoom meetup that went about an hour and a half long. We spent some time talking about one of my ongoing projects, and then we spent a good bit of time on building your drone business website and some of the things that you can offer for your clients. What we're looking at on screen right now is one of the things that we offer our clients. And that is, we do time-lapse video, time-lapse stills to show progression of construction sites over time. both construction sites on raw land locations or construction sites on pre-existing residential or commercial properties that maybe are getting some additions. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Roseanne. I'm glad to know. Okay, we're good now, and Corey's with us too. Excellent. Once again, everyone, sorry, when it's live, sometimes you get some weird things going on. So, for the patrons yesterday, they got to see some of one of our deliverable pages for a client. We started working with this client in November of 2019. We didn't start flying for them till January of 2020, but it's been an interesting and fun project. And for regulars to this channel, you've probably seen some of this, but this is one of our deliverable pages that we do for our clients. In the case of this client, we've done multiple flights for time-lapse video and time-lapse stills and time-lapse orthomosaics. When we go out and do a shoot or a flight for our clients, when we come back with our data, we process it and then we put it into a nice web format to make it really easy on our clients to use. Of course, we also share original images and video via Dropbox so they can download it and have their content available to them, but we always like to do this packaged version so that they have an easier time seeing what's changed on their locations. Now, scrolling down the first item on here, I have not updated the new video, but we're going to show you that new video momentarily. So I'm not done editing this for the client. So this is an old video, it's a placeholder. But I did want to show you that we have done some new things for this client. So we've been doing still time-lapse images from around the property. While we were out last weekend, we made the decision to let's just do a simple 360 virtual tour on the property. This property has changed so much, and we'll see that when we get into the video here. So for the patrons, sorry we're rehashing some of this, but you know, I do want to share some of this with the YouTube channel as well. And of course, we did a lot more yesterday on the Patreon channel. So this one won't go long, but for the regular YouTube folks, I just wanted to show you, we took the Mavic 2 Pro out and we did some 360 images around the property. And this property has changed massively. We also found some icons that we could use with attribution. So Jody went out and found us some awesome horseshoe icons. So this was really fun. This isn't done. We've got to go through and do some labels and move things around a little bit. And we'll do all that before we send the final presentation to our clients. So this page has one of our Kula tours embedded into it. And as you can see, we can take a look around the ranch locations. So they've come a long way since they first started this. And there's the main entrance, and that's heading out toward Granite Mountain, which is our largest mountain in the area. And then we can also tour through, oh, this one was a little darker, so we'll probably have to update this one. It looks a little underexposed to me, so could be my monitor as well. But moving through, we've got a big show ring. We actually have a viewing area. They have really gone to town in building this location out. And as a person who's seen the progress here, I gotta say, it is awesome to see all of the changes over time and to participate in a project like this. So the client's getting something a little new. They're getting a couple of 360s built into this one. And as always, one of the fan favorites with our clients has to be the before and after orthomosaics. I'm actually going to show you those on a larger size as well. But in our presentations for our clients, we do pop these before and after orthos in. So here's way back in April of 2020, and here we are today, basically. We flew this on June 4th. A lot of change has gone on here. And before we do anything else, let's just pull these up so that you can see. I'm going to make this full screen really quick. So this image was captured in April of 2020. As you can see, some of the work had already started. There's the home site that was already pre-existing, and they also had a workshop area. But now they're opening up this area for their horses, for building a new stable. Looking in here, as we zoom in, at the time we came out to fly this, they hadn't fully concreted the slab yet. There was no walls up. So, you know, it was in the early stages. We can actually see a couple of bulldozers out here. Let's zoom that one right on back out here. And that was April of 2020. So let's go ahead again and let's pull up what was just shot on June 4th. What you're seeing here, we still have the home location. We also have the workshop area. Something new is going on off to the side of it. And there's the new stable areas. So it's all stucco. They still have to do the paint in there. We've got our big showing area that's still got some construction going on. And a lot of changes. So these areas have been cleared out more. New fencing has gone in here. There's a lot of room for the horses that are going to be coming out. A lot of open areas for them and also training rings for them. So massive changes over time, and those before and after ortho mosaics have been really popular with my clients. One client who didn't think that they'd want one, I gave them a demo one, and they also had videos and stills from us. And after we did one of those before and after ortho mosaics for them, it became one of the most important, excuse me for not muting my phone. Sorry about that. It started becoming one of the most important um, features of the presentations that we gave them. When you look down here, audio is very clear. Nader, what angle? So on this one, Corey, we were actually doing this at 90 degrees straight down on this one. So we've also done the 70 as well. And when you look at it in Metashape, when I process this and do a 3D model, I do get some of the structure sides and things still. But if you were to do, let's say 70 instead of 90, you're still going to have very similar quality into this. And so the big question is, am I trying to showcase the buildings? Am I trying to showcase the trees and things? You know, facades. If we're doing that, then yeah, we'd probably like to change the gimbal a little bit. But you know, right now you're looking at over 20 acres here. So, you know, if we were to start getting the more of the side views and things, we're going to be blowing up the model size. And in this case, the client's just interested in that top-down map presentation. So before we move on to this one and get into some talks about raw land, I just really, since I was putting this together yesterday and this morning, I really wanted to share this with you. So this was one of the first flights done in January of 2020. And I'm just going to fast forward through this. As you can see, there's snow on the ground. So this was the first official flight for setting things up with the customer. So I'm going to let this play for a moment. So we were just squaring away our setup. So you can see my gear is sitting out here. And off to the left, you might notice me with my yellow jacket. Right next to me is the property owner. So we actually spent some time together to plot out our pre-programmed autonomous flights. So I knew that I was flying what the client really wanted me to fly. So it was a great morning. We actually returned a couple days later to do the official flight. But this first flight, we got everything set up for our stills. We got everything set up for our time-lapse video. And so I just wanted you to see this because we're going to show you the difference that a year will make. So number one, we've got snow on the ground. We've got a lot of trees in here, trees to my left, trees to my right. These are the dreaded junipers. If you live in Prescott, Arizona, you probably got a 50-50 shot of being really allergic to junipers during the spring. So a lot of people running around with Zyrtec that time of year. But so we were surrounded by junipers as we were doing some of this work over the course of over a year of shooting out here. But I wanted you to see the location, see what it's like right now. So we've got this home site, but then we've got a lot of raw, undeveloped land around that home site, which is going to become the new ranch for the horses. But so as you can see, we've got a lot of scrub going on here. We've got a lot of juniper going on here, and nothing has happened on this site yet. So everything had been marked out. The property owner had actually shared blueprints with me so that I could make some decisions about where I wanted to fly. And you know, get myself prepped before meeting with them the first time. So as you can see in here, nice and tucked away, and we've just got that home site and the workshop site. Let's go ahead and close that one, and let's go to, now keep in mind this is an unfinished video for them, okay? So I still have a little more work to do. We got a little more stabilization and things to work out. But this will be going on their new updated deliverables page, and we can actually just, so as we saw in the last one, starting point coming off here, coming off the home, I did leave the helipad down here. When we do the final flight in here, none of the gear or anything is going to be visible to folks. the owner didn't mind the gear pieces out here. The bigger part for them was just seeing the changes in the property over time. Now you can already see some massive changes. We had some junipers in here. There was no stable area slash barn over here. That started getting developed last year. Same, very similar flight path, not the exact flight path, but as we're going down this, all that tree cover, all that scrub brush in there has been cleared out. They still kept, of course, some of the trees in the area for the aesthetic, but much more room for their horses to roam around and work in now. And so as you can see, we're still going through this one, and this is a little sped up, so it might not look so great on the stream. But when this is all said and done, when I do my final export of this, this will be going up for the clients. It'll be sharper too. I'm seeing that there's a little soft focus going on there, but I noticed a similar issue when I was streaming yesterday with Zoom. But in the end, let's just move around this site. So we still have a lot of raw open land as well, but this has been a massive change in here. All of these little paddock areas, the main stables, the show ring, the home and the workshop were what were the original things here, and now so much more has gone into it. So I've been really enjoying this project. The property owner's really enthusiastic about it, and it's been an incredible evolution of the property to see what they're going to be doing for their horses in there. And so as you saw in those videos, actually let's pop that video back. Corey, on the altitude of those, I think we were running somewhere in between like 120 in some areas, and I was going up to about, I think I had it up to 198 at one point. For the top down, for the ortho mosaic, it was 200 feet above ground level, above my launching point. But the elevations in these do vary as it climbs up in a couple of areas. But what I want you to take note of is not the ranch now. It's all that raw land out there. So, I've been thinking about the folks on this live stream, the folks on my Patreon channel, thinking about, additional ideas to help you start growing your business. And I've got to say, one of the things that's jumped out at me is the raw land sites over the course of more than the last year. I seem to be getting more raw land site calls for going out and documenting properties for sale. But here's the thing. That raw land is only the starting point. If that raw land is up for sale, most likely somebody is going to buy it for commercial development, residential development, whatever it might be. And if you're the first boots on the ground and you do a really nice job of documenting the properties that you're employed to check out, from brokers or from potential property buyers, they're going to remember the assistance and the quality of the products that you're giving to them. And when that next stage of their projects comes along, the build stage, you're going to be in the back of their minds, or you're going to be right at the forefront of their minds as they give you a call to come out and start documenting their own build outs. So maybe it's builders doing a spec home, maybe it's outside investors who are developing a new commercial property, whatever it might be. There's always a starting point, and that starting point often involves raw land. So don't look down your nose at potential raw land sites. I know that going out and shooting individual real estate sites, beautiful homes, interiors and exteriors, great starting point for folks getting into the business as well. But I think a lot of people forget about the concept that, we've got to start from somewhere. These houses that are for sale, that are being documented to go up on MLS, well, there's other houses being built, and nothing's listed about them yet because they're just at that starting point. And if you can find that niche market, in my case, I was not seeking it out. People started seeking out our business through our website, through azdrone.net. And some of the examples that we had some raw land examples, the construction progression examples. And these are the things that are driving potential clients to call me. So it's pretty easy to go out and fly some open land. I know, some of us might be in more urban areas, but if you get out of town and, go to your favorite lake or your favorite hiking location, most likely you can also film and do some stills of raw land locations there. Even if they're not for sale, you can add them to your B-roll. You can add them to your own presentations to show, yeah, I documented this 5, 10, 15, 20 acres in a nice presentation that gives people an idea of the lay of the land. And so now we're going to shift in from the Sky Ranch Rome, and I would like to take a look at a couple of items. So as I said, I always pre-prep things for you, so I've got a couple of folders of things here, and we're going to get past the ortho mosaics, and we're just going to jump into a couple of JPEGs. And so the first one, if you were around with us last year on channel, this was a drive up to a place called in Coconino County. So from Williams, Arizona toward the Grand Canyon. This was a long drive into the middle of nowhere, high desert, tons of juniper, beautiful open land. We see the dirt track coming in. Might be some difficulties in building in that area since we don't have paved access yet. And I'll tell you what, our drive in was a pretty rough one, and I had the concern, hey, am I going to lose my muffler in here with some of the rocks and things in the roadway? But we documented this property for a client who actually was out of state, many states out of state. So apparently they're a semi-professional or professional land flipper. So they find distressed properties or properties that are coming in at a lower price point, and they turn them around. So we've done multiple flights for this particular client. And this particular raw land site actually sold a short, not very long after we actually did the flight for that client. Let's take another look on that property because we noted some things for them. So number one, we're not out there measuring boundaries or anything. We're not licensed land surveyors, but we can show the things that are going on properties for people. One of the questions that that this property owner had for us, he was concerned looking at some of the satellite images that maybe there was some structures on his property. And sure enough, he was correct. So this is a Shasta trailer. So I'm still an RVer at heart, so I still love my Airstream, and I always like to see other ones. But this was a Shasta that was just left out on the property. Is it lived in? Is it abandoned? Are nefarious things going on? We don't know, but this really helped clue the property owner in as to what was going on that property. And so let's move on to the next one here. And this is a totally different type of raw land site. So last year, we got a call out of Phoenix, a realtor who was representing this particular listing. This is actually a large acreage area, very close to Watson and Willow Lake. Also very close, as you can see, to the one of the golf courses here in town. We've got a lot of golf courses here. But so this site, we actually had to do a little hike up to the height of land to get everything in. We did 360 imaging. We did your standard still imaging as well, and we showcased this entire area. So very nice view areas, some very great views out to Watson Lake as well. I don't know what's happened with this property since then, but this compared to that Coconino County one where, we've got a raw land site down a dirt road, price points and things are going to be very different. But in the end, raw land is raw land, and you can see in the distance the houses with the different view areas. This is probably going to be a very lucrative property sale. And after this job is done, we dealt with that particular realtor and their representative. And when it comes time for maybe breaking ground and initial construction, we know that we are going to be at the top of their minds because they were very pleased with the captures we did to showcase this particular raw land site. So I'm going to go ahead and close that one. So yeah, start thinking about raw land. And one other thing, just to let you know, so one of my old friends, one of my best friends in the world, is a realtor. She's located in the Naples, Florida area, and she is a raw land broker only. So she does vacant lots and land. And in her case, she has a lot of challenges down in Florida with wetlands and surveys for wetlands and things. But she always does image the properties that she works with to let people know, what type of build location are they going to be expecting if they're looking at that particular property that she's listing. So, her entire career in real estate revolves around vacant lots and land in Florida. So it is a specialized niche, but when you think about it, for drone operators and also for photographers who are just doing these land shoots as well, um, the follow-up afterward for us is potentially very lucrative. So if we do a great job in these circumstances, most likely we're going to hear from the broker down the road, or maybe the builder and the buyer, that they want to document their property build-outs as well. So we're looking at another view from that same shoot that we did last year over near the golf courses. So we had actually pulled this back further to showcase the view to the south and view to the southwest, and off in the distance there's Thumb Butte as well out there. All right, let's close that one. And what we're going to jump into next, it's not a raw land site. This is an actual site that's just started to construct. So we actually last week had the opportunity to go out and video the pouring of the concrete foundation. And then I followed up a couple of days later to make sure, because we didn't get the whole thing filled in. That takes forever pouring these concrete pads, let me tell you. So we only had so many batteries out there sitting out at like 87 degrees that day. And so we documented what we could. We showed some of the pouring. We didn't show the entire pour because that was hours. And yeah, so we're not going to stay out there for that many hours for it. But we did get our follow-up in very quickly after so that we could show this. And what you're looking at, this is the concrete pad that's been laid down. And yes, we are going to be doing a time-lapse progression for this one. We got this job because of the new folks that we've been working with on the raw land sites. So in dealing with this particular broker, not only do they deal with the land sales, they're also involved after the land sale. So they work closely with certain builders, they work closely with architects, and since we've been doing a good job with them on their new raw land stuff, they want to expand with us, so we're taking that. I'm in North Florida, send her my way. Absolutely, Corey. She was, just to let you know, so she's been a broker for quite some time, so she's been in the industry for a while. She knows the ins and outs. And she has actually, we spoke just a couple days ago, just, a conversation, and she was letting me know, she said she's having some problems with getting imaging lately. So one of the people that she was working with is no longer available in that area. And she's having a hard time finding folks to represent her properties. And they've got a different series of challenges than we do here in the desert Southwest. So she has a lot of concerns, and there's a lot of paperwork around wetlands and things. So, and conservation. So she's got some extra things to work with. So a drone pilot would come in great at this point. So yeah, Corey, if you want to make your way down to Naples, that's where she lives down there. But I think you're in North Florida. So anyways, because of what we've been doing with the raw land and capturing some of these sites, this has opened up new avenues for us with the builders who are associated with these particular communities. So now we're going to get to do more for them as well. And I'm going to close that one up. And what we're going to do now is we're going to move on into here. So I'm going to pull up a video just so that you can see this. Now, once again, this is an unedited video. I have not fixed anything in this yet. I do have to go through later today. We're going to get back on the job for setting up the videos and stills and everything for this particular site. So this is some unintended movements. So this quick flip around is because I set up an orbit mission with Litchi. So it's moving the drone to a location where it can start its orbit. So it's going to whip around in just a moment again. So you're going to get that little bit of seasick for a moment. But then I set up a very simple orbit at 7 miles per hour. There's still a little stutter in this, and you'll notice it throughout, but when I get done with the post-processing and editing and Final Cut, we'll have almost all of that gone. If we have any big lag in there, what we can do is edit those parts out, do a nice little transition. Nobody will even know that we were having a little jitter here. So I have been noticing that if I try to fly faster, so it could be an issue with my gimbal or an issue overall, but when I try to fly these orbit patterns tight in and faster, I get more jitter. When I bring those orbits out and slow the drone down a bit, the transitions, the movement is much smoother. So, there is some correction to be done here, but so I just wanted to give you, the bird's eye view, as it were. And you can see there's that jitter going on. It really aggravates me, and so try to make sure that we have as much of that gone for clients as possible. So I might recalibrate everything as well. But so this was one of the flights around there, and we can just move on through this as well. So it gives you the idea. And as we're panning around in here, take note, there's a lot of open sites out here. So it's not just this particular client. This is north of the Talking Rock area. I think it's still in Talking Rock, but you can see all of the open land out here. So there are other homes going in, and as we drive in, there's a set of 4 homes being developed very close to each other. They're at different stages of their build outs right now, but there's so many opportunities just in this one area alone, and we're actually hitting several other communities as well. So we went through and we got to see the start of this pour. Now, I further on down, I haven't even taken a close look at some of these, so let's just grab a random one really quick. All right, yep, this one I liked as well. So we're just going to take a quick look at this because we can see what's going on here in the look, right here where my mouse is. We've got the whole crew in there. They have started pouring that concrete in. You can actually see the concrete being poured right behind the folks who are pouring this. The other construction guys were smoothing this out, so they were moving along incredibly quickly behind the pour. So they got the pour done within just a single day. So not only the main home, but also the garage area, workshop area out there. But just look at how quickly these folks move. So a lot of these construction groups out here are very proficient with getting new homes built pretty quickly. There's such demand out here, though, that these crews are constantly busy. So it's been pretty amazing to watch some of these developments. So you can see that whole pour going on in there. And like I said, let's go ahead and close this one. Just 2 days later, I came back out to check the final results, and we've got some video for you as well. So I do have a couple of jobs for today for myself. So getting this one finished up, getting the Sky Ranch room finished up, and we've got a conversation with one of our RV resorts about a new park that they purchased, and they'd like us to do some web work for them. So just a couple of days later, I went out. I had to go to another location for the broker that I'm working with anyways. So I was driving out to fly another property near a railroad track that he thought was really cool. But before I went and flew that, I went back to this location because I wanted to see how that pour turned out. So I'm going to fast forward you through that nauseating stuff with Litchi getting set up. And there we go. So now I'm using the same exact orbit that I used a couple of days before. And so I'm going to overlay the older orbit and the newer orbit so that we can see that change. So a lot has changed. We no longer have that crane in there pouring the concrete. We no longer have that giant group of construction workers getting everything smoothed out. Now stage 1 is done, and now the owners can start looking forward to seeing the home erected, seeing the walls go up, see the trusses go in. So and a good bit of that will be getting documented as well. So once again, you can see a little of that jitter, so we'll be smoothing that out afterward in Final Cut Pro. It's a little more than I'm even comfortable with, so I'm wondering if something's going on with my gimbal, or maybe I should slow some things down. I will get this cleaned up, and it will be a lot smoother, so most folks won't even notice this, but it's really aggravating me right now as I show it to you. You always want things to come out good, and you want the presentations to really wow your clients. And I gotta say, folks who we've been working with out in this area recently have been enjoying the production that we're doing. So this is going to be a really nice and unique and kind of private looking small home. I don't know if it's going to be a ranch or anything, but we'll see as the project moves along. So, all right, let me close this one up now. And let's see in here. Let's scroll up. Let's see that second MP4. What did I do with that one? Oh, okay, this one, I had changed the speed a little bit. In the middle of the first one, I was unhappy because I also was getting a couple of phone calls. I'd forgotten to put myself on Do Not Disturb. So I did a second pass around this, double checked the focus and everything, and making sure that it was sharp. So I actually did 2 orbits around this, and that's okay. These orbits don't take a super long time. So the simple orbits that come in Litchi can let you put something together that you can save and reuse over and over again. So like the Litchi waypoint missions that I do often, um, this is a great way to be able to repeat flights in a location. And this is a much simpler way if we're just doing an orbit around the main location. That's very simple compared to making lots of waypoints and getting the gimbal to turn this way and turn that way. So if you need a very simple time lapse to demonstrate changes in a site, take a look at Litchi's orbit because it's a very, very simple setup and really easy to save and then come back and reuse. Now, for those of you using Litchi, you might jump over to the Litchi Mission Hub right now and say, why can't I save orbit missions on Litchi's Mission Hub? You can't. So we can save our waypoint paths in Litchi's Mission Hub, but we can't save and share to all of our devices for the orbits. So if I put an orbit on this iPhone, but I bring my other iPhone with me, that orbit's not saved on that one. So whoops, I've had that happen to me a couple of times. I forgot that, hey, it doesn't save across the net for those orbits. So you have to set it up in each of your devices if you want it to work well. But yeah, so the orbits make for a really easy time to do simple time lapses. And as we move through this, so I kept the exposure locked, by the way, on this one, because as you're going around this, the exposure will adjust itself if you have any auto settings. So I set the aperture shutter speed manually for myself to keep the exposure locked in one place. All right, let's close that one down and let's just take a look. So we also did stills on the site, but in that follow-up visit, I wanted to also capture what the final concrete pad was looking like because apparently they're going to do the decorative concrete in this instance. So that's where they do the acid staining, I think, is how they do that. And in the old gallery years ago, we had that acid stained concrete floor as well. So this should be really interesting to see how that develops, and the owners will get to see all of it and experience it firsthand. So just taking a look at another one. So let's pop these up. Okay, a couple of different angles because I just wanted to give them that full view of what has gone on during that day. But so getting into all of these job sites, getting into all of these construction sites. We've had some people contact us directly for that kind of construction progression work, but then we've had landowners contact us, people who are just starting the builds who want to document this and keep track of their own projects. So those raw land sites can really lead into, they're right at the start of the life of a project, right? They're the first thing. You need the land. And then you need to do some clearing, and then you need to do your building, and you need to follow along with the construction crews, make sure everything stays on track. So getting out and shooting for these brokers and builders raw land sites that that they're looking to sell to buyers, that is a foot in the door for the rest of the process. Now, I've had people on channel ask me multiple times, I don't have an in with the real estate industry. I don't have an in with builders. I understand that. I was in the same exact situation as you were. And one of my solutions years ago was to go out and fly sites. So on Sundays, I would fly some of the Granville construction. The construction crews weren't out there. There was nobody living in those particular areas, so I'd do flights over those. I would do flights out in the Prescott National Forest where I'm allowed to. I would do flights in the Granite Dells. All of these things become part of my B-roll. All of these things become part of what goes up on the azdrone.net site, and almost all of my clients are coming through that or as references at this point. So last week I actually had to turn down a couple of flights because they needed them done that day and I was doing something with another client. So it seems like we're coming into a busier season here and there is a building boom here in Prescott. So I know I'm in a good niche market, but I think that if you were to start entertaining the possibilities of doing some raw land demos and doing some construction demos and having those things on your websites, as one of my customers had put it to me when we started, he said, I searched for Phoenix and Prescott drone photographers, stumbled across your site, saw some of the construction progression stuff you were doing, and I knew that you'd be the right person to do our project as well. So my website is working for me. It's not sending me thousands of people a month because there aren't that many builders around here. If I see a couple of hundred visits a month and people who have actually gone through multiple pages on my website, I know that the website is being effective because I'm not going to have 2,000 realtors or 2,000 builders or 2,000 buyers get in touch with me anytime. It's not going to happen. This is a larger project. These projects take time. It's not like running into a store and buying a pair of jeans. These projects are going to span weeks, months, and in some cases, years. So let's see, Ray, I like to mix up the orbits with the land-based cameras, sometimes speed ramping things like cranes to show. Oh, absolutely, Ray. I actually had another person get in touch with me recently who's thinking about using our services. And they were asking me about a crane camera. And go figure, for the Sky Ranch Roam that I showed early on in this, I actually looked up some of the crane cameras and outdoor cameras for the client because he was thinking about capturing some of the progress himself, not with a drone, but from the ground. So him and I actually had a great conversation about it. I did some research for him, and then he did a little reading after, and he said, "You know what? I don't want to do all the editing out of this thing." So he said, "Yeah, what we started building because we'd by then done a couple of flights together." And so he was really satisfied with what we were already doing and felt, yeah, I don't need the crane cams or the pole cams or something, but they're fantastic for it, and you can totally integrate that into a presentation. And if that's just another additional service you're offering a client, so make sure that you bill for each of those line items. The flight time lapses, the ground-based time lapses, every one of those things should be an independent price point, so that build into your final pricing. But yeah, it's I would love to do a crane cam. I think that'd be a lot of fun. And there seem to be a lot of products out there now for outdoor installations that will do those time-lapse series for you. Hey, I've taken GoPros and just, done time lapses with them, or, had it shoot every 5 seconds. So I'd stick it out in the Granite Dells during monsoon season. I'd walk away from the tripod that was holding it. I'd sit in the rocks or just relax for a while, and I'd let the camera run. So same thing for those construction sites as well. Let's pull up another one of these and just take a look. And so just another angle again. So I always do give people a couple of very similar images. I wanted to pull this one way back because once again, I just wanted to say to you, so I'm doing some of these raw land sites, but there is right up here, clearly a potential new build site. Nothing's going on in there. Everything off to the west out here, there's a lot of build sites there. The road that we were on behind me actually splits into a fork, a couple of new build sites there. And like I said, as I would drive into these properties on a regular basis, there's multiple other build sites that I haven't personally flown. Other people are probably flying, so depends on who the brokers are. But so there we go. So in the end, what I really wanted to get across today and get you thinking about, it's not just pretty home photos, it's not commercial properties. If you can start getting into these raw land sites, they're going to lead into continuing projects. So, you get 5 or 6 of these ongoing builds from the raw land work that you've done, and you're going to be keeping yourself busy and you can start being profitable with your business. So, and one of the other things that you do need to keep in mind is, you need to give yourself the proper amount of time to post-process all these things, to do the flights up to your standards. And so sometimes that does mean that you're going to turn somebody down. So one of my ventures out last week, I had 4 different properties to do that day. They were spread out a little bit. So that made for basically a full day for me. I had a 45-minute drive out, I'd say a 45-minute drive back, several hours between all the locations. Got back to the office, offloaded everything, and started sorting through it. That's a full day. So don't overbook. And when someone calls you from a place that you just came back from and it's an hour round trip, it's okay to say no. So let me oh, and yes, Corey, we have talked about the 360 virtual tours. As a matter of fact, I've got a new demo up that I'm waiting for the broker that we're dealing with to check out for me, because they're interested in purchasing something else. So we did another demo for a presentation that they're going to be doing. So we did another demo VR tour. But absolutely, Corey, this is a cradle to grave project. If you can start getting in on that raw land, the real estate agents that are representing this, they know some of the builders who are going to be building this, and they know the construction services. They probably have relationships with some of the architects on these higher end properties. So you're going from that initial decision to purchase this piece of property for my new home all the way through to completion of it and then showcasing it. Desert Adventures, welcome aboard and thanks for stopping in. So we're just about to wrap up here today, but this does come up in replay. So anyone who came in the middle or missed some of this, you will be able to see the replay on, usually it takes YouTube a couple of hours lately because they do all their checks and things now. It's very strange. Also, just to let everyone know, so we do a regular Zoom meetup as well on Sunday mornings, and that's for the folks who are subscribed to our Patreon channel. So while they saw some of this yesterday and some of this is new, we also spent a lot of time yesterday with the patrons working on building their own online presence and building their own online deliverables for their clients. So we're doing a whole long series on that. So if you're interested in any of that, hop on over to our Patreon channel. It's right down below, and it's just Patreon/Rich Charpentier. Also, if you want to know about our waypoint missions and our drone deliverables, you can go to az-drone.teachable.com. Also sitting down on the screen down there, we've got several classes on documenting construction progression and autonomous flight. And then we've got a couple other classes in there as well on 360 tours and on some 360 cameras. So we'll watch the replay in a couple hours. Absolutely. And welcome aboard Desert Adventures. We're always happy to see new folks on here. As always, if you have questions or comments, you can leave them in the show notes down below, or you can keep your eye on the chat, pop anything you want to in the chat window as well. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. And I've got another Zoom meeting right after this with one of our RV resort clients. They just purchased another property, so they need to build a new site for it. They want to keep it simple, and they want to make it manageable for their employees as well. So we'll probably be having a long Zoom conference on there. So gonna cut this one. Oh, okay, 8:47, so that's not bad anyways. Thanks everybody for stopping in. As always, it's greatly appreciated. I hope the information here helps you in your business development as well, and help spur some ideas as to the types of things that you can offer your clients, and maybe some unique things that you hadn't thought about yet that might be a great selling point for your customers as well. So I look forward to hearing your comments and questions, and I'll look forward to seeing everybody again next week. As I get some of these other things edited this week, I'll try to pop a couple up examples on YouTube, not as live stream, just as a final polished product, so that you can see how we got rid of some of that jitter, because that was really bothering me as we were watching that. So it was more pronounced than I thought on the first pass. Worst case scenario, I've got that flight pass saved, so I can go back and refly it again if I need to. All right, everyone, we'll see you again next week. Have a great start to the week. Fly safe, and we'll see you all again really soon. Let me now go down and find, there we go. So we'll see you again soon, ending the stream. And there we go. And that stream is done.